Rayay Sin Amun-Rayay. It says Rahubat Zamal.
Rahubat.
I wanted to know if the Natharu or aspects of self, how is it they would hear our chants if they are us?
The same way I'm hearing you right now and you are me. But the only thing is you live in a third dimensional plane to where you think you are separated from me, but you're really not. It's like anytime you have a dream, everything you see in the dream is an aspect of you. You created that from your own mental particles or your own etheric wavelength or your own thoughts. But when you look out, you're seeing a whole dimension, you're seeing a whole world, all these activities, but that is created in your mental world, in your inner makeup, your inner landscape in your mind, right? But you experiencing all that like it's separate, but it's really you. So this is a hard principle for us to understand, right? As mortals, right? Who are dominated by the reptilian brain, right? And being animals, to understand that every Nagaru that you ever met has the same soul in his body that you have in your body. Baba Yaanun always told us that we are many bodies, but it's only one soul. Or the doctrine of that, the doctrine of you taking the spoonful of water and throwing it back into the ocean, right? When you pull a little spoonful out, it seems like this water is separate from the other larger body of water, right? But when you pour it back in, it blends right in with the rest of the water. It was never separated. It's the illusion of you taking it and putting it in a container, you know what I'm saying? But like he always told us, water is always searching to go home. That's the same thing with you. We feel separation because of our incarnation, but you are really still tied to every other soul being in the whole universe. So when you speak about the Natharu are you. The Natharu would be, what we consider to be Natharu would be our higher self. All would be the etheric side of what we are. The same way the master teacher, if you look in, I think the Proverbs of Yaanun, and he says stuff like, he had Isa at Hadi al-Makti, and then he said the etheric part of him was Al-Qadir. Al-Qadir was Father Time. That's where all the information was coming from. That was that self-perfected being. And then you had Malachi Kabina Ugran, whose etheric counterpart is Yaanun. It would be the same thing. When you speak about the Natharu would be our higher self. That would be us in our perfection. That would be us in our pure divinity. And then you got us as the body separated from the etheric you. So when you're saying, if we calling on them, how would us calling on, what he said, if we call on them, how could they be separate if they answer our prayers, right?
No, he said, I want to know if the Natharu are aspects of self, how is it they will hear our chants if they are us?
Mm-hmm. That's how they hear. That's how you hear your chant. It's like, okay, it's like these beings live inside of your blood, right? Like I said, right now we in a body. So in the body, we separate everything because of the ego, right? The ego makes you think that you are different from all life or all living, right? So when we think about the Natharu, everybody got a different understanding of the Natharu based on their level of mentality or based on their level of spirituality, you know what I'm saying, where they at in their spirituality or their spiritual development. Everybody got a different understanding. But when you speak about these Natharu, the master teach about how they live inside of your blood, right? The blood is a pathway, you know what I'm saying, for spirits to come into and live, you know what I'm saying? And that's how they communicate with you through your body, right? So he calls them fractals. He said they live in the heat of your blood. They survive off the nutrition when you eat food, but they are very much a part of you. Right now, when you talk about that, that's talking about beings in their spiritual essence, right? Not physical, the spiritual essence, right? So parts of you are in the body and parts of you are not in this body. Like he told us, the real you is so grand it cannot fit into a body, right? So it fit into many bodies and many things all throughout existence. There's different levels of divinity, right, so to speak, right? So which is why when you go to, I think, Black Magic, he gives you stages from yourself and your parents all the way back to eternity, or all the way back to the creator, all, right? Different stages of what we consider to be the divine. So it's like you calling on a part of yourself the same way you can do in your body, right? When they're teaching us now that words can program your DNA, right? We have these inner powers that do not work because we don't call upon them. We don't acknowledge them. The minute we get wind of their existence, right, and we acknowledge that they exist, we can further use these powers. That's the same thing with the Natharu. The Natharu are a makeup of your spiritual you. It's like these dormant energies that are there, these dormant souls that are there that basically watch and guide you, but you don't even know that they exist. The master teacher is making us aware of them now. So now that you do know they exist, now you can call upon parts of yourself, right, to work in your favor. And humans do this all the time, you know what I'm saying, with affirmations. Humans do all kinds of things now when we learn the power and the nature of mind. Most of these things, like people say, be careful what you ask for, like you can speak things into existence. All of these are these powers that you are using that are really divine attributes, or the divine powers that humans have that animals don't have, because we are self-conscious. So like I say, with the Natharu, they are you. They are just higher parts of you that you don't know nothing about. So when you learn about them and you start saying, okay, I'm gonna say a prayer, right? Where is this prayer going at? Where the prayer going at? It surely ain't going up there. You know what the Bible told us? He said the problem with religion is we try to seek the divinity outside of ourselves, and it's not inside of yourself. When you meditate, all that energy is flowing inward. When you're making prayer and all that stuff is going inward. It ain't reaching no heaven. And you home in your own little house and you saying your chant, you think that's going all the way to the planet risk? No, that energy is going within. You know what I'm saying? To that inner world where these beings live at. Now, like I said, we only separate in the Natharu from us because we have not transformed yet. Because when you transform back, you wouldn't be saying the Natharu and then me. You would be one of the Natharu, right? And you would become one of those guardians over a fraction of another part of yourself that has went to sleep, right? That you are trying to wake up now as a Natharu. So we keep separating ourselves from them because we have yet to, to transform back into one of them. But like I say, calling on them in prayer is still really calling on yourself, or it's calling on the higher aspects of your spirit and your soul and your mind to help you. Now, I want to read this right here. When I was talking about the prayer thing going up to heaven, and when we making prayer, like when we praying to the Natharu, like when you praying, you really doing what? You're asking for help. You're asking for assistance. You imploring. You are begging, right, your ancestors to help you. Because in our doctrine, the master said we don't worship our ancestors, right? We revere them, we respect them, we love them, but we don't worship them because we are them. We are not slaves to them because we are them. You know what I'm saying? You can't be a slave to yourself. So that's what he's saying. You respect them. So by respecting them, you learn how to respect yourself, because it's still reflecting back on self, right? And who we really are as a race of divine beings who are separated now because we are incarnations. But when you make your transition, you blend back in. And then you'll see that there is no separation with you and all the other beings who incarnate, or different aspects of you incarnate in, learning different things on their journey and their mission, until we reach that divine unity again, when we come, when everybody, reach a certain stage and you merge like the beings on Sirius C, and that's divine unity. You know what I'm saying? When everybody come back as one, and then you be one being. Now, this study right here was put out years ago. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Just the first part, when he was talking about meditation. Okay, so he was saying the powers of prayer, chants, and meditation. Now, he says, most people pray as in religious beliefs and their hopes for an answer from out of space. They call heaven above. Is this what Sabians are doing when we make prayer? We praying to the heavens? And they get no answer because the power is inside of them. I'm saying it again. The power is inside of them. The Natharu are your spiritual powers. We like I said, the doctrine of ancient Egypt was created to put it on the outside of you so you can study it better, to understand it, to be able to utilize it. But it's really you calling on your own divinity, your own forces. Okay, so he says the power is inside of you. And know this actual fact of Wu Nawab, animus, that in your immune cells circulating inside the red fluid, circulating inside your arteries and veins, the essence of physical life, the corpuscles, the blood cells. It is known and has been known by your own ancestors that meditative practices do in fact affect you on your molecular level. Meditation really works. Meditations and chanting and prayers have positive effects on the mind. You see what I'm saying? You making prayer, but this really affecting your mind in a positive way. You doing this by making the prayer, because the prayer will put you into your brain waves will change. It'll put you into alpha, where you be relaxed, you feel positive, you feel at peace. You so-called calling on these divine forces. You see what I'm saying? So he says positive effects on the mind, the body system, your blood pressure change, and increase well-being, cure disease and sickness from within or inside out. So is that not calling on your powers when you're doing that? You see what I'm saying? You doing that. Nobody else, really. You thinking some being coming over. Nah, you are that being. Like the books teach, there is no power that is greater than you. All that power is really you. You know what I'm saying? In your mind and how you think and what you do with it. So I pray that answered the brother's question. He had another part, or that's it?